What's up, Fanatics? Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today, I've got a very special guest all the way from across the pond in France, and he represents a brand that I discovered not too terribly long ago. I knew about them and I'd seen them before, but I really hadn't sat down and listened to the equipment. But now that I have, man, it's like a revelation. And I just had to have Triangle on the show to talk about it. And with us from Triangle, we have their CEO, Hugo. Hugo, welcome, man. How are you?
Hi, Jill. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot for inviting me at your show. It's a pleasure. It's not that late in France, so no problem. It's cool to be
here. Yeah, I'm really super excited to have you on because, I remember the first time I saw Triangle speakers, and I'm like, what? Who are those guys? And, I wasn't familiar at all, and I had an opportunity to sit down and listen to your entry level speaker, the Borea, and I was absolutely stunned at the quality. I mean, these things sound really, really good, and at such an affordable price. I really didn't know how to take it because it's such a low dollar for such a high quality. I mean, it's outstanding. And I've had also the opportunity to hear your higher end speakers at shows, and of course, those just blow me away. But man, the Borea was crazy good. Maybe let's start this interview out a little bit with a history of who you are, your history, and then we can move into you telling us a little bit about the Triangle brand. So, Hugo, what's your relationship with the company? What are you doing over there for Triangle?
Okay, so the relationship I have with the company is quite intense because I am the CEO of this company.
Oh, wow.
And I am, since 5 years ago, I'm the entire owner of this company.
Oh, wow.
It's on my company since 5 years, and man, yeah, it's been a huge history, a huge adventure, during the last 40 years, because Triangle has been founded in 1980, and it has been a friend business and then a family business, and then my business. So it's made like it's one of our best friends, Renaud de Verniette, which has been the founder 40 years ago. We've been always fine in hi-fi from the family, my father and I, and we've been always very close from Renault. And when he decided to retire in 2006, after almost 30 years of company business,
right.
We decided to take over. And a bit of my father, but he decided to go in different way later on do wine business, of a winery. And so I've decided to jump on. And i5 business is definitely a business you get. Sometimes it's tough to get in, but after it's a lot of fun, and there's so many things to do that it's pretty cool thing. So here I am,
Absolutely.
10 years later, and happy to be here.
That's great. Yeah, hi-fi, the industry, the consumer base is filled with people that are very passionate about the product, right? And it's interesting because, I do a lot of work both with audio and video equipment. And on the video side, people don't seem to be as enthusiastically passionate about their equipment as they are on the audio side. I mean, when you start speaking about speakers, I mean, people, they have opinions, and it becomes almost a religion for them because they want that perfect sound because the music is so meaningful to them. The equipment that they have to reproduce that, that becomes part of that emotion for them. So yeah, people are very passionate about their sound and their music, and I'm excited because I think Triangle is a vehicle that they can use to, find even more passion when they listen to music, because the sound really is that good. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful product. Now let's talk a little bit about your product. So what all does Triangle sell?
We are developing, assembling, and selling loudspeakers. That's our main business activity that we've been starting, like, as I said, 40 years ago. We started with one floor standard. You can find online, which calls the 1180, because it has been launched on November 1980.
1980, okay.
And this adventure has been continued since long, and we start progressively to build up different size of the loudspeakers, bookshelf and floor standards. We've been really focused first on stereo. Stereo remain our main activity, but progressively we've been increasing a bit the offer and using a bit our knowledge in acoustics to go further to home theater, subwoofers, center channel, surround speakers, of course. And now we also go a bit more to keeping with stereo, which is very important for us, with active speakers progressively.
Oh,
Wireless
wow.
speakers, how we can use that next generation music for hi-fi system.
That's cool.
So,
So let me pull up the web page here. So just I'm scrolling up and down on the product line. So you've got your high fidelity line, which are all of your different speakers, and I think these are all passive except maybe for the subwoofers. Then you've got your wireless powered speakers. Then you've got custom install. So these are architectural speakers. Is that
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
We basically now we start developing architectural speakers, and we'll do more and more because, as you may notice, Triangle is also a sound. When we are doing loudspeakers, we do a certain way with a certain sound. We're looking something very punchy, a lot of details, a lot of fun.
Right.
Maybe not as much analytic that British loudspeaker, for example,
Right.
but we want something where we get excited once we've got listening on it. And we wanted to kind of apply this sound philosophy also in architectural speakers. So they are not like super high-end, super complicated stuff for home theater room, but they are something perfect to complete your sound system across the house. You start first with like a good stereo system, and then you can build up on the rest of your house with that.
Oh, absolutely. So, here's a little funny story. So, I took the Borea BR03s, so the two-way bookshelf speaker, and
Mhm.
I set those up in my theater downstairs. And I like to demo in my theater because that is the room in my home that's treated acoustically, so it sounds the best. I've got speakers throughout the home in other places, but that is the location where I can listen most critically. And I took everything and I put into 2.1 mode, so I was using a subwoofer as well, and I was just shocked by the sound that was coming out of these little bookshelf speakers. And like you said, they're very straightforward. They're two-way front ported bookshelves, and I really like that they're front ported, by the way. That I have a strong preference for front port whenever I use ported equipment, so I really appreciated that. And I crossed these over with a fairly large subwoofer, big 18, and it just sounded absolutely stunning. I listen to music through a number of different genres. I listen to a lot of Owl City. They're my favorite band, and listen to all that stuff. But I listen to a lot of techno, listen to some classical, and they performed extremely well. And what I was really impressed by is these guys imaged and created a very good sound stage. So yeah, I mean, kudos to you guys for building such a product that's accessible to so many people that sounds this good. I mean, people can absolutely go, I think, to that next level in their environment without having to spend a ton of money. So that's really great.
Yeah, that's the point, and that's very important part of our history. Is like even if we are do also high-end and we push to the limit for with our R&D, we've been always trying to do affordable speakers. The story of our founder was going to hi-fi shop in Paris, building by itself his own speakers, and the shop saying no by selling them. They don't want selling them. They say, Renault is not expensive enough. What I will do with that speaker when my other speaker is 10,000 franc. Franc is like an old currency in France
Hmm.
before
Hmm.
euro. And but we kept that. We kept that the fact that we've been developing speakers for 40 years. So we've got like industrial knowledge, acoustic knowledge, and sometimes we say, boom, okay, let's something as simple and efficient as possible. And we've been very happy with Borea, but because we really hit something, we hit like a different another step of quality, price versus quality, and we've been very happy because we had a ton of compliments last time. And the BR03, it's a good example because it's a bookshelf, so it's not that expensive to build. It's still a 6.25-inch woofer, so you
Hmm.
get most of the mid-range. You get a better openness that with smaller drivers. When you go to bigger drivers such as 8, it's get a bit messy to have a good mid-range balance. So for us, like 6-inch
Right.
woofer is like one of the easiest, best price versus value. And yeah, we the BR3 sum up something pretty cool. Is like make people instead of buying like a one box product at that instead just try stereo. You will see 20 years later you will keep it and you will keep upgrading it. You won't go
Absolutely.
away from that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about something that I think is pretty special that you guys have going on now. So you've just released a new product line, and I believe that's called your 40th anniversary product line. Is that
Yeah.
correct? So what's that all about? Why is that in existence? What is that for?
But of course, everyone understands that sometimes time a company wants like to make an anniversary product because it's like something that's to mark and to celebrate the fact that we are old now in this industry.
Right.
And what we've been trying to do is say, okay, let's take the most known and appreciated um, product from the past. And so we've been using Antal and a Comet, which is our mid-range speakers since like 25 years, and which is cool. Maybe not as much in USA, but more in Europe with the Hi-Fi press. They say, you're launching a Comet? I've been trying a Comet 25 years before. And
Right.
they say, it's the same. They say, no, it's not the same because after, of course, we explain the difference. And it's something that try to sum up who we are and what kind of technology we are using. For example, for mid-range has been super important for us because this is what gives a wide sound stage, which is
Right.
give this little forwardness that we have, this liveness on the human voices. And we've been using paper because the founder, when he started this company, he tried thousands of drivers. He tried the old Audax large width Audax drivers, and
Right.
finally he said paper is the best sound. And from then we haven't changed it. We've tried to improve it. This is a pure uncoated speaker, uncoated paper membrane.
Right.
So it's lighter, so it moves faster. The tweeter is like something a bit unique that we've been using since like 10 years, but improving. It's like a small horn-loaded tweeter. So it's a mix of a huge clips horn and just a membrane. It's like a titanium membrane, and we've been improving. We did a special finish. We did like a limited edition. We did improving the wiring, all the small detail, improving like the wood density, because wood density is like so much important
Oh, very
for good
important.
quality speakers. We'll maybe talk later about that. And yeah, and try to keep it affordable. It's trying to do not something crazy. I think it's going to be $2,400 for the Comet and $1,500, $5,000 in the United States for the floor standard. So it's high end. It's high quality material, the best we can, but always keep trying to make the best, make our best to make it not as much expensive as other super high end speaker.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at I think the Antal now,
Mm-hmm.
in the 40th anniversary, and this speaker is just gorgeous. I mean, it's really beautiful, and it has some aspects that kind of call out the higher end products in your different product lines. So, when I see the feet on this, that's it's a very simple detail, but to me that says, okay, that's a triangle speaker, right? When I see that, and the front ports and then the tweeter design, I see that as well, and I think, okay, that's triangle. And I really like the badging that you have on the front of the units as well. These are just gorgeous. I mean, the detail. I mean, look at this. I mean, you can see the wood grain. You can see, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's a gorgeous design. I would consider this to be what I would call a timeless kind of design. I don't want to call it conservative because it's not conservative, but it's also not, flashy plastic look kind of, uh, try to be 23rd century design. This is something that I think, you could put in almost any environment, and people would come in and say, oh, that, it's a centerpiece, it's a feature. And like you said, this is not super expensive, and it's also not even the top of the line equipment. And speaking of the top of the line, let's pop over, because everybody likes to see the expensive goodies, right? Let me see if I can pull up. So your top of the line is that the Magellan?
That's the Magellan, yes.
Okay, so we had to show the Magellans because that is all triangle all the time. When you see this, you know that you're looking at a triangle speaker, especially with the stand feature in the front center bottom. You know
Hmm.
that's very iconic. So let's talk a little bit about these. So for someone who is a very high end connoisseur of sound, they're a lover of the Triangle brand, and they decide, okay, I'm ready to make the jump into Magellan. Why would they want to do that? What would drive them into the Magellan line?
Um, of course, we have been building Magellans for people which have been already a bit familiar with stereo sound, and they can get the feeling about what they can have more with a very high-end speakers. And with Magellans, what we want to have try to accomplish is get the speaker disappear. It's like for me the ultimate like challenge that we have is like boom, suddenly you've got the full room which is music all around yourself, and you don't even feel where the speaker is coming from. You don't get the feeling that two speakers are firing sound to your face. And with Magellans is like a very pure classic triangle speakers, and what we want is like huge sound stage, something because our founder has been like a classic lover, and what he wants is when he closes his eyes he can find out the cello is on the left, the
Right.
trumpet is on the right. And even we now the new team is listening different kind of music, we always try to keep that to have like boom the sound stage, the openness of the singer in front of us, and like having also something super fast. This is what
Mhm.
people from Magellan will appreciate, is like a fast sound. The bass are they are not the kind of speakers which go like super low and which going to tremble all around your house,
Right.
but they are going to be fast, they are going to be very neat, and having a very neat bass and very open mid-range helps you to fully, according to us of course, because as you said everyone has his own preferences, but
Right.
according to us it gives us something unique, like, well, I understand the music, I feel everything. And after it goes so on how efficient is your driver and how much back wave vibration you can absorb from them. And it's
Understood.
quite a simple recipe, but not that easy to apply.
Understood. Understood. I hear probably the newest Triangle fan in the background
Yeah, she
saying
just came
hello.
home. Sorry for that.
No, that's awesome. So you have kids? Not to
Yeah,
get not to get too personal, but that's awesome. I've got 2 children myself.
I've got it's my first one. It's 18 months ago, so it's a new
Oh,
adventure for me.
congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
That's awesome. It's a wonderful time. So one thing I want to comment on is you said with this line of speakers, you can put them in the room and they kind of
Sorry, I'm going to
oh,
distract you a bit.
there she is. She or he? She. Oh, there she is. Cutie
Yes,
pie.
yes.
Bonjour.
You're in a show, Valentina, for Hi-Fi show.
Bonjour. New
Bonjour.
star. Such a
Let's see.
cutie. Oh my goodness. I remember when my boys were that age. It's such a wonderful time. But so let me ask you this question, or let me just make a comment rather. So, you said that with the Magellan, and you say it so much nicer than I do. I need to get the pronunciation correct. When you have those in the room, you can lean back, the speakers disappear, and you just have this wonderful sound stage. You have this wonderful imaging, and you can enjoy the music. Well, the one thing I will counter with is that no one is going to miss seeing these speakers because they are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, so I was speaking with my wife, and we were thinking about how we wanted to set up, our living room, our big family space, and obviously, I want to have great 2-channel sound in there,
Mhm.
and we went around and around about what is going to be the most appropriate speaker, and we actually did look at these. Not that these are in my price range, but my wife did identify. She said something that looks like this that sounds wonderful is the right choice. And I said, okay, honey, I'll work on that. One day we'll be there. But I do think that at this level, the aesthetics of the speaker are very, very important. You obviously want to have the most superb sound quality that you can have, but you know if I'm going to make that type of investment, the aesthetics are
Yeah,
important too. And
they're
I
super
I
important.
like that you have met all those needs with this speaker line. So that's
We
cool.
do. We before in hi-fi, saying that having a nice look was not as good because you were not focusing on sound, and we've been saying always on our side that it's wrong. I mean, hi-fi speakers is an object of living. You're going to live
Mhm.
with it at least 10 years, and our calculation shows it's more around 20 or 25 years.
Yes.
So it's very important to find out like a design which is first working well, because our engineer will kill us if we try to do a shape that's
Right.
not working perfectly acoustically. And so we know the shapes that's working well in terms of woodwork to make it nice and good. So it's all about finish. It's all about tiny detail. It's all about making something nice, sober, but elegant. Elegance is really something we try to focus on. To have something we try to enter with, and we do have. Sometimes I regret this term, but sometimes it's useful to say we do have the wife acceptance factor. It's like she has to accept,
Mhm.
and that's normal. It's part of our together life, and we both need to appreciate the product both on the sound side and on the aesthetic side. So yeah, it's a lot of work from us, but that's what makes the job interesting as well.
Yeah. And it's funny. You know, I have adopted into my selection criteria all of those things from an aesthetic point of view. So for us here, there's the husband acceptance factor. And when I look at speakers, it's not just the sound anymore. That is extremely important. And if it doesn't sound the way I want it to, it's a non-starter. But I will make decisions based on the aesthetics of the speaker and how I think it's going to look in the room. And so for me, that's very, very important as well. So I appreciate that you take that into account when you think through, okay, how do we design this? We want it to look as good as it sounds. And for me, that's what creates that priceless experience with your speaker. So you can sit down and you can have that pride of ownership of that speaker, and you say, look at this piece of art that I've got in my house. And not only does it sound beautiful, but it also looks beautiful. It makes everything else in the room beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So that's great. Now I'd like to ask one last question before we close out. And this is a really important one, because this is something that everyone has to go through when they purchase speakers. And that's, how do you choose the right speaker for your goal, right? So there's so many different aspects in selecting a speaker. Everything from budget. I mean, let's be realistic. Everyone has a budget that they need to think through. The size of the speaker, the sound of the speaker, the technology in the speaker. Is it active, passive? So when someone comes to Triangle and says, help me pick the right speaker for me, what are some of the things that you help people think through to make that decision?
Yeah, that's a tough question
I know
because
it's so big.
to answer that, for sure, what we need is to ask the customer more question about what they are looking to do. So maybe for your viewers, more ask yourself what you want to do. Because in fact, hi-fi companies such as Triangle has many different offers to give you. We can do stereo, we can do like multi-room speakers, we can make architectural speakers. Our knowledge on acoustic can apply in many different ways. But first, you need to set up stereo or home theater. What
Right.
we used to do is for stereo, pick up a stereo amplifier. All the power of the amplifier will be focused on the two channels, and which give like a better sound, more speed in the sound, and it's very important. And after there's like, let's call it two big category: bookshelf, floor standards. What we say and why do we build 8 speakers per range? Sometimes it makes no sense. In fact, it's really matter of the room, the
Okay.
size of the room, the square space. Sorry, I'm going to speak in square meter
Sure.
because this is what I'm used to do in Europe. But we've got like a 5-inch bookshelf, which is the BRO2, the Titus on the range above. So this is really for 10, 12 square meter. You've got a small office, you've got like a small stereo system, something discreet, but not too much. You go with small bookshelf. Once you go to BO3, Commit, Theta, and even Duetto, you're like halfway between like a compact speakers. You've got something not that big in your living room, but having a wider sound stage and deeper bass. So this is like the intermediate solution when you've got a medium room and you want something good but not too huge. And for sure, like the king of loudspeaker, if we can say that way, even if we can create debate, is like the three-way floor standard speakers, because acoustic is pushing air. So we need, once you've got a big room, you need big speakers with many drivers to push air and give reproduce all the frequencies, and especially the bass. The bass has a tendency to dilute in big room.
Right.
This is acoustic. We hear first high frequencies, and lower frequencies need like larger room to spread and then come back to your ear. And so, yeah, it's a matter of first pick up your room and say, okay, this is a big room. I need a floor standard. I need to find a way. I've got more than 30 square meter. Let's find a floor standard, because otherwise you will be disappointed, even if you go the range below. After, for sure, we try to explain why we've got so many speaker range. Basically, we've got 4 big family, which is Borea, Esprit, Signatures, Esprit, anniversary speakers now, Signatures, and Magnets. And so basically they are all designed the same, but what changed is the quality of the material inside. And each time we improve the quality of the material, we improve the sound. And basically that's quite simple. There's like 2 main factors. That's the quality of the wood. As we say, is like it's super important when a driver is moving that all the other vibration are absorbed and totally canceled, in order that you only hearing music and not distortion around yourself. And more you go high end, stronger wood density you will get. You will get more reinforcement inside the cabinets. So the Magellan, for example, the Magellans will the same size floor standard between a Magellan is like 40 kilograms. Sorry, it's in Europe again.
Right. And that's like 84 pounds or 88 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, 84 pounds, something like that. And if you go to Esprit, it's like 50 pounds. And it's more or less the same size, but the material inside is so much heavier that it stuck your speaker into the ground, cancel vibration, and all you hear is the driver, so all you hear is the music.
Right.
And for sure, we do also the same with drivers. Like making a driver is like making a watch for me. It's like the way of building it is not like rocket science. We do some things that people have been doing for many time. It's like how much precision you're looking for your speakers. How much
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, when you put up a spider, when you put up a magnet, when you put up a voice code, more precise you get, more movement you can get without any tension or any warm up or anything, creating a distortion into the sound wave. And this is why speakers can move from $500 to $80,000. Right. Because we also do spend a lot of money.
No, it is a shitload.
A lot of money in material. But at the end, we do believe that it brings something else in the listening. And after, for speakers, you need to listen to them, and you get to get the experience by yourself to know what I feel. And this is for picking up stereo. And then for home theater, what we used to do is like pick up what you love the most for listening music. Then after, for every range, we give you the possibility to upgrade to home theater.
Right.
Every range has a center speakers. Every range can use bookshelf for surround. The thing I can tell you in advance is like for Borea, we are building Atmos speakers, which are going to be positioned on the top of floor standards. So on this range, we go even further. And this is going to be released in a couple of months.
That's exciting. So will they be able to attach to the existing towers? So you'll buy and they'll be the toppers that sit on top of the towers that people would have already purchased?
Yeah, they fit on BO3, BO8, and BO9 because we use, as I said before, a 6-inch mid-woofer because we do believe that it works the best. So you can put it on the speakers and also on the side for surround. And So yeah, pick up your room, pick up your budget, and this focus your product first with music, and then build up a home theater around. That's my personal way of guiding people on their decision to purchase. And last stuff is like you're young or you want something super easy, but you still want stereo. Go to active speakers. This stuff are increasing, and this stuff can do a surprisingly good sound for the value.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for that guide because you know I like the way that you approach things from a room first and selecting the correct equipment for what you're trying to accomplish rather than picking a piece of equipment and just sticking it somewhere and hoping that it works well. No, so I agree that that's a really nice approach to designing and building your own 2-channel or home theater setup. Um, Hugo, I have to say thanks so much for coming on the show with us today. Thanks for including your family.
Sorry for the description.
Oh no, that's great. I mean, I love to, you know, well, this is my favorite part of creating content for the internet is meeting the people. So, you know, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the show so that not only I can meet you and understand more about Triangle, but everybody else that views can meet you and understand more about the brand as well. So that's been very wonderful. Again, thank you for your time. And for everybody out there that's watching, thank you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks a lot, Giles. Take care.
Take care.